Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Welcome to Legacy Boxing Promotions, sponsored by Legacy Boxing Promotions. Pettis Collision, Ed Nunez along with Austin Colleen. And in studio, we'll have in our second segment, Aaron Angel Baby Pettis, 4-0 with 4 KOs. He'll fight at the Hispanic Cultural Center October 20th. We'll go over that card with him and with you, Austin. And don't forget, those of you, again, the October 27th New Mexico Boxing Hall of Fame banquet at the Embassy. If you want tickets, Colleen'sCorner.com. And you know that's hard to believe that event. We mentioned the people that are going to be inducted. Sandy Pino, she did pass away. We probably, rest in peace. All our condolences and respect to Sandy Pino. She gets in. She'll get in the Boxing Hall of Fame. So that event coming up October 27th at the Embassy, as we mentioned. Austin, do you want to talk about again tickets and how much they cost? And at Colleen'sCorner.com if you want to buy a ticket. You want to talk a little bit about that event?
Yeah, I'm getting phone calls and people emailing me. Tickets are $40 each. A table is $320. And we're all paying. The only people that get in free are the inductees.
Yeah. Okay, that's Oh, so even the board's got to pay.
Oh, there's no freebies because one of our good friends wanted 2 free tickets.
Yeah.
I won't get into the name, but I think you know who I'm talking about.
So October 27th was a great show last year, and you've got some great inductees. I don't want to. We don't have them up on the screen. We did announce it at a previous show, and I was there last year as the master of ceremonies. And I'll tell you, I still think about Chris Linson, Mike Adams. I think about Chris Linson. There's Chris Linson Day in Santa Fe last year. I think they bought out a whole table, if I'm right, a couple of tables. His family.
I think it was 7 or 8 tables. So it was over 60 tickets.
Wow.
That was amazing.
Great night. So October 27th, that's coming up. One of the events that we did want to talk about this past weekend, we do cover boxing, but once in a while we'll delve into UFC. Mike Adams will cover that, and I will cover that extensively. 6:10 Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the mic with Mike Adams. But this past weekend, Habib, I'm not going to go into his last name. It's a Russia. I can't even pronounce it. Versus Conor McGregor. There's a lot of hype leading up to that fight. A lot of bad blood. McGregor starts it really last spring by throwing the hand truck at the bus and shards of glass, and they have to hold Habib back. So they make the match for last Saturday, and Habib chokes him out in 3. Now, that wasn't the end of it. The brouhaha, the melee started 4 rounds. And you know what? I saw it, and it looked like he gave him an extra choke even when they tapped him. And then Habib climbs out of the ring, fights with some guys in McGregor's corner, and the melee was on.
Well, Colin McGregor, he made a lot of jokes about the religion, which was ridiculous. He shouldn't have gone there. So Habib went nuts when the fight was over, and a lot of that had to do with the crude things that McGregor's whole camp had said about his camp. And when he jumped over the ring, he went after one of the fighters who trains with McGregor. And then, of course, a couple of the Russians came into the ring. One of them sucker punched McGregor. Despite all his boistering, when he lost the fight, he was humble. And, he was going to just shake hands. But he never got to do any of that. He got blasted.
Boy, he did.
Yeah.
One of the things he said after the fight is, I'm not pressing any charges. It was a good knock, he said, in his native Irish tongue, or what he said. So one of the things that made me laugh, though, is that, of course, Dana White comes out and he's concerned we can't have this, things like that. But it puts more money in their coffers. Let's be honest, right? So, Don King and Bob Arum would say the same thing in boxing. We can't have these, fracases outside the ring, but
They love it.
right. So, okay, so there'll be, here's my prediction, and we'll see what Mike Adams says on Saturday, but a couple of slaps on the wrist, maybe a couple fines here and there, right? But you don't think, of course, they're going to have Khabib McGregor too. It makes too much financial sense not to.
I think what they might do is take suspend the title from Khabib, and the other fighter at the 155 division who won in the second round, put him against McGregor, and the winner become the interim champion.
Ferguson, I believe his name is Ferguson, and he's an up-and-coming fighter.
And I'll tell you, if McGregor has to fight Ferguson, that's not an automatic win. Ferguson was pretty impressive.
Well, you also remember McGregor had been out of the octagon for about a year and a half. And, he had fought Floyd Mayweather in the boxing ring, and he had been out of the octagon. He's a cash cow right now, but you never, again, people want to see Khabib McGregor, but we'll have to see. I think you're right. They probably will do what you just said, and then the winner fights Khabib.
McGregor's mistake was wearing his wallet into the ring. I think it slowed him down. All that money.
He could have knocked out Conor McGregor anytime he wanted. We know that he made it a 9-round fight to give people the entertainment. He's an entertainer. And then we talked about this last show, McGregor talking about maybe fighting Manny Pacquiao. I certainly hope not. I don't want to see that. And I purchased that last fight, and what a dud. We got about 30 seconds left in this segment. And as we mentioned, we will have on Aaron Angel Baby Pettis on in our next segment. And so we'll talk about the fights at the Hispanic Cultural Center October 20th. We'll be back to Legacy Boxing Showcase after these messages.
Throwing the fade right the end zone. Caught to see if he's in bounds. Touchdown. Huskies down in 10. Back in the gun, looks over the defense. Drop in and look at great protection again. Throws it out, man's wide open on the left side. That is Cosper. Cosper to the end zone. Touchdown, home Huskies. And first down and 4 into the around right end. Ruiz breaks the tackle, diving for the end zone. Touchdown. Turns it up the middle, inside the 5. Touchdown. Home Huskies.
I think he doesn't want me on a show because he won't ask the hard questions.
Breaking a tackle to the outside, still going. A race down the sideline and all the way.
Mesa front line. All right, formation again. Pull up the middle. Could be gone. 30, 35, 41 man to beat. Midfield, 40. Going to score on a 80-yard touchdown run. Wade blocking, and that's a touchdown.
Third and 4. Harris going to quarterback keep, and he's got some room on the outside, cutting back across the 20, and look out, Malik Phillips says hello.
Ball is picked up by one of the reverse on the opening kickoff, spinning and trying to gain some move down the left sideline. He's got an open field. He may go all the way on the opening kickoff. It's going to be a touchdown for number 10, Ivan Rodriguez.
The Barley.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
The Barley Room, proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering, let us bring our kitchen to you.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Welcome back to Legacy Boxing Showcase, sponsored by Legacy Boxing Promotions, Pettis Collision. Ed Nunez along with Austin Colleen in studio with us. Aaron Angel Baby Pettis, 4-0, 4 KOs, 126 pounds. He'll face Jose Antonio Martinez of Durango, Mexico, October 20th at the Hispanic Cultural Center. And Aaron, man, always good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, always good to see you. Austin, I know you got some questions for Aaron.
Well, I did, but his kid brother seems to be stealing the headlines this week. So
Right.
why don't you tell the folks a little bit about what your brother's accomplished so far?
My brother Abraham, he's at the Eastern qualifiers, and he's doing good. He's fighting at 114 pounds. He fought Monday against someone from New Jersey. He wiped him out. At advanced to fight Wednesday, which was yesterday, he wiped out someone from Buffalo, New York. So he advances to semifinals on Friday. So he's doing good. He's looking sharp.
So if he wins the entire tournament, he'd get a shot at going to the Olympic Village in Colorado.
Yes.
And
correct.
also he'd be fighting in the national championships in December.
Yes. Yeah, he'll have his spot marked down there if he pulls away with this tournament. So far, he's looking strong.
So now we'll be arguing which Perez brother are we talking about.
Right.
Pressure's on. So what do you think of this card that's going to be coming up on October?
It's an interesting card. It's a small card, but it's action packed. The ladies are going to get it for sure. Let me see.
Well, you mentioned,
Willie, his fight's gonna be good.
You mentioned the ladies. They're both very aggressive fighters. I found it amazing that neither one has a knockout, which I find hard to believe because they're so aggressive.
It's just the nature of the ladies, man.
I don't know.
Yep.
They both bring it big time.
Yeah, for sure.
And they've both been inactive though for quite a while. We had one. I got my name here. Brandy Montoya was in the Marines for 4 years, so she's coming back from a long layoff. And Cecilia Renova also had a long layoff, so rust could be the big factor there. But if they're both at their best, that's going to be an exciting fight.
Oh yeah.
So I look there to see a good contest, and maybe we'll even have a couple of photos up here about them. Oh, there's Cecilia.
There you go, Will.
Yeah, that was at your gym, it looks like.
Yeah, they've been going over for sparring a lot. So I've seen her training. She's looking sharp as well.
But the girl she was sparring from Farmington, she's an engineering student at the college. I can't remember.
Dacia Hackis?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's staying gym active. They've been helping each other out and sharpening each other out. So they're both looking good.
Pretty intense sparring between the two of them.
Yeah,
So,
they're both looking sharp though.
Well, it's interesting.
Your fight against Jose Antonio Martinez and Austin Colleen has a write-up, or at least for us here. You know, I'm sure he covers all the fights afterward, bout by bout. Martinez, is a veteran, and he had 11-16, 6 KOs of Durango, Mexico. So Austin thinks this is going to be one of the toughest tests of your career. What's your strategy? Have you seen any film on him at all? What do you know about him?
I just know that he's a tough opponent. I haven't watched too much film on him. I just always make sure I'm ready and for whoever, pretty much. In the amateur level, it's like you just fight back to back every day, and you really don't know who you're gonna fight. So you just go in there well prepared and just do what you're taught.
Right. A little different at the professional level, I would think.
Yeah, I would think so. I'm stepping it up this time to 6 rounds. So in the amateur, it was always 3, but this training camp, I mean, we just been getting 10 rounds of sparring in, and we're feeling good, feeling well prepared going into this.
6 rounds being a little bit different than 4, Austin.
Well, I noticed in watching film of him, unlike your last opponent, Gene Perez, who doesn't believe in bobbing and weaving, he moves his head. He's like a windshield wiper, and he throws punches in volume, and he's pretty aggressive. So it looks to me like you're fighting a much more accomplished fighter this time.
Yeah, he's a tough guy, no doubt. And every time he fights, he lays it all in the ring, from what I've heard. So that's what I'm prepared for.
Well, you're always good at making adjustments in your fights. But this is going to probably, I think, your biggest challenge.
Yeah, so far, I mean, he's got close to 30 pro fights, and I mean, these guys are tough that come from Mexico, and
well, I think over half his wins are by knockouts.
Wow, that's crazy.
So he can pop a little bit
for sure.
And so what you don't want to look beyond this particular fight, but assuming you can come out victorious, what's next on the line? Because this is going to definitely start to draw some attention.
Yeah, it's a good fight to have on my resume, because he's been in with people signed with Golden Boy and Top Rank. So it's a good fight to have on my resume. Afterwards, just back to the drawing board, back to working on improvement, and just wait for whatever opportunity jumps out next.
Now, when I was watching you spar, you had a pretty good sparring partner.
Jason Sanchez, I've been working with him a lot. He's got an opportunity to fight. I forgot his name.
From Puerto Rico,
something like that. His last name is Rivera. But in Panama City, he's got an opportunity with him. So we've been working together a lot, and he's been looking sharp as well. So we keep each other up there, man, and correct each other's mistakes and things like that.
I would say, watching the sparring last week, you could literally sell tickets to the sparring. You guys really were fighting at a high level.
Yeah.
You weren't trying to knock each other out, but you were cracking each other.
Yeah, we just want to make sure we're ready, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
What have you got out of sparring with Jason Sanchez? He's got a piston-like jab. You know, he's a very smart fighter, technician. So what do you work with him? What have you gotten out? And yeah, I'm sure you push each other.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm sure you're both trying to get to a certain level. So what have you gotten out of working with him?
Yeah, so that's the thing. We're both trying to get to a certain level, and so we just keep trying to continue to correct each other's mistakes. It might not look like we have a lot of mistakes, but we find them as we're boxers. We see each other's mistakes, and we help each other out with that. So
I want to ask you about your fight with Gene Pettis. I'll tell you what, that was a tough fight.
Yeah.
He came to fight, and you put him away. I think in 3. Was it 3 or 4? I can't remember.
4. Yeah, in the middle
Fourth round.
4.
Austin always knows whatever round. He'll always tell me 4. He knows. But you put him away in 4, and I thought Gene Pettis, as I mentioned, I thought it was a formidable opponent. You did get the job done. But I'll tell you what. Even up to the last, he was still throwing punches. Now that was the right thing to do and stop the fight. But talk about that fight a little bit. What'd you learn there?
It was a good fight, man. Gene, that's what makes them the both Perez brothers. Makes them who they are because of how durable and how tough these guys are, and they're just always willing to fight, man. So from that fight, I mean, I just learned pretty much it's just another fight, man. So but he was tough and a durable opponent, so it was good.
So where you're going again, a lot of these opponents, you're looking ahead. It's not as if you look back. You've got to look ahead. It's not like you sit there and wonder how Gene Pettis was. You got too many things in front of you. I mean, we just asking these questions, to see what you got out of it. But I know in your own mind, it's like this guy right now. It's Jose Antonio Martinez. That's the guy in front of you right now.
Yeah.
And then as many fights as you're having and as often as you're fighting, it's not as if you can really reflect back. It's like, hey, let's move on to the next one.
Oh yeah, it's just every fight opens up another opportunity. You just gotta keep looking sharp and impressive, and opportunities will keep jumping out like that.
Yeah, keep grinding.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's part of the game right there, Austin.
Your last amateur fight, which really caught my eye, was that opponent you fought 3 times from Colorado. I forget his name.
Oh, okay, Sean Mondragon.
Okay, so.
Yeah, you always talk to me about that one, man.
Well, I love that fight.
Yeah.
You may not have. Because
good each time.
You'd be doing well, and then he'd take over, and then you'd take over, and it just flipped back. It was like a ping pong game for
boxing,
3 rounds.
Huh? Yeah.
What goes through your mind? Okay, I got this guy now. Oh, all of a sudden you're back in your heels again. What goes through your head that you can find it? I can take back the control. What do you?
Yeah, it's just going back to the drawing board each time. As good as I thought I was, I mean, there's still people out there that can have one on you. So you just got to go back to the drawing board and keep improving. So I was able to get them the next time, and so that's how I knew the improvements were coming, and there's still room for improvements as well.
But I mean, right in that fight itself. And when you say go back to the drawing board, you can't time out.
Yeah.
You gotta figure something out in the next 10 seconds, or else you're gonna lose the round.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a close fight. Each of those fights were close, so it was kind of a toss up each time. So
do you know if he's turned pro or?
I think he's still trying to shoot for the Olympics. So I think he's out in Chattanooga right now as well with Abraham.
Oh, okay. So he's with your brother.
I believe so.
But he doesn't want to mess with him.
Right.
You hope.
Anybody's style as a professional that you emulate as a professional boxer? Did you have a favorite boxer? We all do. Is there any boxer that you saw, and again, you're trained by your father? Is there any boxer that you saw growing up that you really like, or even in current boxers?
Growing up, I always watched Juan Manuel Marquez. So all his fights with Pacquiao, those were all
legendary.
Oh yeah. So I just like watching him when I was young. I just saw how each time he would lose to Pacquiao. I mean, controversial. A few of I think he probably took the first, the third, and the fourth for sure. And but he would go back to the drawing board, train hard, and he would fight. The next fight, you'd see improvements on him. So he even had a room to improve in a lot of areas too.
So you kind of ended up cheering for him then?
Yeah, he did, but
No, I mean you did. I mean,
yes,
you followed his. So you must have been thrilled when he finally did knock out Pacquiao in devastating fashion, almost ended Pacquiao's career. I think a lot of people saw him on the canvas that night and felt that as an older boxer, that might have been the end of Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
He's come back, give him credit. But so you must have been very happy that night that Marquez finally broke through.
Yeah, it was a good thing to see. So after what they've been through in their 4 fights, so
some trilogies there.
Yeah,
more
that was not expected. It was expected to go all the way again.
I'd like to follow up, seeing as how he's one of your heroes. He had a very peculiar habit in the locker room after the training was over. How far did you emulate him in that one bizarre thing he liked to do? How do you?
What's that?
It was a certain drink.
Oh yeah. Nah, I don't go that hard, man. I don't know if I'll drink my own urine.
That was Marquez?
That was him,
Marquez.
Man. Yep.
Floyd Mayweather.
A lot of people
did about
do it,
10
but
minutes of one-liners on that. He was afraid he would breathe on him.
Oh man.
That's
none
scary.
of you wanted to talk about the card coming up.
Sure.
Also, again, Legacy Boxing Promotions. We'll have another card at the Hispanic Cultural Center. Again, that's been some great cards. The last one at Route 66 was, man, unbelievable.
Yeah, it was nice.
Pitbull, Torres, and Cabral ending the show that night and the fight of the year, according to everybody. Just some great action. So, again, Legacy Boxing Promotions, October 20th at the Hispanic Cultural Center. Austin, you want to go through the rest of the fights on the card? We got about 3 minutes.
Willie Villanueva is in the co-feature. And I saw Willie spar a lot, but I've never seen him in a real fight. But I remember when Archie Ray Marquez was going hot, they were going to fight each other. And I just assumed that Archie Ray would be an overwhelming favorite. But a lot of the trainers liked Willie Villanueva in that fight. So what's your experience with Willie?
We've never sparred, but I do see technical ability in him. I think he's underrated. A lot of people don't see much in him until, like, boom, he gets in the ring and you see him moving a little bit, and he's got technical abilities and he knows where to place his punches and things like that. So he's a good fighter, solid.
Got about 2 minutes, Austin, to get the rest of the fights in. And I know you already mentioned the Cecilia Renova and Brandy Montoya. I don't know if you want to talk about Ronnie the Mongoose Baca.
I think he's the anesthesiologist, if I pronounced that right. He puts people to sleep. His opponent is undefeated. So hopefully he has a good defense, because Ronnie he can light you up with a single punch.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, have you watched Ronnie in action? Mm-hmm. What's your take on him?
He's slick, man. He's strategic. So that's it right there. If you allow him to pick you apart, he will.
In his last fight, his opponent wasn't afraid of him. He had a nice style. He was going pretty good, and then he just nailed him with one shot.
Yeah.
He's deadly.
Austin, got about a minute left to get to these, whatever one you want to get to.
Well, I like Daniel Flores' fight with Galarza. I see that fight going the distance. I've seen them both fight. They got a lot of poise.
There's some pictures there.
And there's Danny right now. And last fight, he got his first win. A hard worker. Finally cracked the winning circle. And the other fight is Luis Sanchez, Jose. His opponent is TBA, the famous fighter who fights all over the world.
There you go.
Of course, brother of Jason Sanchez.
Yes.
He used to mention here he has a heavy hand. So 30 seconds left in the in this segment. So let's wrap it up, Austin.
Well, I like the card itself. I think it's a very interesting card. And when these fighters get in the ring, it doesn't matter if they're a 4-rounder looking for their first win or Angel looking for stay undefeated. It's important to them.
Or someone
that's the world
trying to
title.
come pull an upset.
Yeah.
Aron Angel Baby Pettis, 4-0, 4 KOs, 126 pounds. Will face Jose Antonio Martinez October 20th at the Hispanic Cultural Center. Thanks so much for being our guest.
Thank you for having me, man.
You bet.
Thanks for having me, Austin.
Producer Josh Brown, for Austin Colleen, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll be back in 2 weeks for another episode of Legacy Boxing Showcase.